Kim Dokja read 10,000 chapters of the same novel, not because he loved it, because it was the only thing that ever finished what it started. Everyone talks about Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint like it's a power fantasy. The reader becomes the strongest. The reader knows what's coming. The reader wins. But that's not what the first 100 chapters are really about. They're about someone who kept returning to fiction because reality had stopped giving him a place to belong. Think about what it takes to read the same story for years. That's not passion. Passion burns out. This is someone who needed somewhere to go every single day because the real world had quietly stopped noticing he existed. Kim Dokja isn't extraordinary because he's intelligent. He's extraordinary because he's invisible to his co-workers, to his family, and eventually to himself. He shows up. He does his job. He goes home. Nothing changes. The novel isn't an escape. Escape suggests there's still a life waiting outside. For Dokja, the story became a replacement. A world where every character mattered. Even if he didn't, that's the wound beneath everything that follows. Not the apocalypse, not the monsters, not the end of the world. Long before any of that happened, Kim Dokja had already disappeared. The apocalypse doesn't create his loneliness. It simply makes everyone else see it. So when the world finally ends and he's the only person who knows what's coming, pay attention to what the story gives him first. Not power, purpose. For the first time in his life, what he knows matters. The years he spent alone finishing a story everyone else abandoned suddenly become the one thing that can save people. That's why readers connect with him so deeply. Not because they want to fight monsters, because they know what it feels like to carry knowledge, pain, or an entire history that nobody else can see, and to finally have it matter. But the story refuses to make that a simple victory. To save people, Dokja has to keep doing the thing that made him invisible in the first place. He stays in the background. He lets others become the heroes. He becomes indispensable. By remaining unseen, the story doesn't heal his wound. It turns that wound into his greatest strength and his greatest prison. The people around him admire the version of Kim Dokja that's always prepared, the strategist, the man with all the answers. They don't see the person underneath, the one who spent years surviving by believing nobody would ever choose him unless he was useful. That's the real conflict of Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint. Not whether humanity survives, whether Kim Dokja can believe his life has value beyond what he can do for everyone else. Every sacrifice, every impossible decision, every time he disappears so someone else can stand in the light. It's more than strategy. It's an old wound repeating itself. Sound familiar? That's not fantasy. That's every person who's held a family together without recognition. Every friend who's always listened but was never asked how they were doing. Every reliable person who became so dependable that everyone forgot they needed saving too. Kim Dokja spent his whole life being the only reader of a story nobody finished. And when it was finally his turn to become part of the story, he still couldn't believe he deserved to be its hero.